Be sure to subscribe for your chance to win a custom leather playmat when we hit 2,500 subscribers. Hey everyone. I wasn't sure I was going to comment on this one, but I'm seeing a lot of really upset people, so I thought might as well get my thoughts out there. I don't think it's going to bring very many people some tranquility over this, but just going to share my thought process on it. You know, Magic is really trying new things right now, and that is what they need to do. They are spicing it up, so to speak. They're not doing the same old routine. They are trying new things, and you know, sometimes those things aren't going to go over very well. Sometimes they're going to push boundaries. Sometimes they're going to have to backpedal, but they're in the driver's seat. They're going to be able to do that. Like, this is a monopoly. I don't know how likely it is that they could get to a point where they can't backpedal. I mean, they've literally put the reserve list on themselves in the past as a response to overreach. If this gets out of hand, Wizards can put the genie back in the bottle, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm optimistic. And, you know, it's foolish to think that once they head down this path of easy money, that it's something that they'll turn away from. But it really does seem to me like if it does become a problem, there's a solution. They can change policy. They can drop it all together. There's a lot of ways they can go. We're talking here about the Walking Dead secret lair. For those of you that are not familiar, I probably should have led with that. But basically, people are very upset that the characters from The Walking Dead are being portrayed on Magic cards. And these are black bordered cards. This is not an unset. This is not like the Sword of Dungeons and Dragons that they put out previously. This is actually legal in Magic. Now, I've thought that they should do this for a really long time, not specifically with Walking Dead, but when I see the Transformers card game, like if I was the bigwig over at Wizards of the Coast, I wouldn't keep making garbage card games. I would just make a Transformers game which is similar to Magic that uses the same rules, and it would be in the Deckmaster series. I mean, that was Richard Garfield's initial intention. In terms of Deckmaster, was to have a bunch of games that had some kind of through thread. Now, the first one there, Jihad, was a completely different game than Magic, but you know, the idea of a Deckmaster series, I think would be really sweet. I think we could see Transformers and My Little Pony and all of these games, instead of running them for a few years and then putting them in the trash, they could do them with different colored borders. It could be gold, silver, purple, blue, doesn't matter, just literally not black border. And have it be something that if Commander players want to play those cards in their decks, go nuts. Like, that's totally fine. Like, that should be up to the players what they want to do. Now, the thing that people are upset about here is the fact that tournament players can play these cards. And to that, I don't care. Like, they're not good enough. Like, if they start printing cards in these that are so good that you absolutely are at a massive disadvantage by not playing it, then sure, that's an issue. Like, that is a challenge that, you know, they'll reprint them for sure. But at that point, I can see why people would potentially have issue with it. But at the end of the day, you're going to be able to buy like 10 of these. People are going to buy extra. The market's going to get these cards to the people that need them. And if you're complaining about legacy cards that are like new, that are potentially going to be a little expensive, like, who cares? I mean, reserve list cards are potentially very, very expensive. And as long as the cards are a good investment, I don't lose any sleep over it at all. Like, I learned this a long time ago. My parents were jewelers when I was growing up, and they really explained the difference in between like middle class people and rich people. Now, they never really fully embraced it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still working on like working my way out of the middle class. It takes a while. I'm 40, hopefully. I mean, I certainly expect to retire with at least a couple $1 million just from investing and working and constantly saving, which is available to literally everybody. Like, if you just invest in an index fund and you're putting away a reasonable amount of money every year, you're going to retire if you start young enough with a couple $1 million in the bank. That is just like literally what's available to you if you're living in America and able to save just a decent amount of money. I mean, $500 a month or something would be enough. And that's not even like I'm saving a lot more than that, but like that is totally accessible to people. People spend that on like cigarettes and stuff. So anyways, point is, rich people have different habits. They think about things differently. And one of those things is like when they're buying a gift for their wife for like Valentine's Day, the ability to say buy a piece of jewelry or perhaps a bag, like a really high-end designer bag, things that can actually retain value. So it's not so much that they're spending the money. It's like, yeah, they might have spent $5,000 on something which seems insane when, it's just so much money. But that thing's potentially going to go up. You're not really spending the money. You're basically just looking at your balance sheet and you're taking stuff from one column, putting it into another column. It's really not a big deal. So, if these Walking Dead cards are going to be a worthwhile investment, it's just an investment opportunity for people. Like, it's fine. Just buy them. If you think they're going to be so good that they're just going to go up in value, just buy a bunch of them. Like, it's not really a problem. Even if you hate them and don't want to play with them, you could still buy them and make some money off of it. We're going to take a look at the cards real quick. I just don't think there's any concern whatsoever about these being tournament playable. 5 mana, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 walker tokens. I'm almost skeptical about this templating. It's like walker tokens. Like, I guess there's zombie walker tokens. They didn't put that on this card. This looks like a digital mock-up. As long as she's equipped, she must be blocked if able. And when Michonne and at least 2 zombies attack, she gains indestructible until end of turn. So people that are fans of the show and the comic will, of course, recognize this is the 2 walkers. I think they were like former boyfriends, like former lovers, that she cut off their jaws and arms and just had them with her to ward off other zombies when she was out on her own. And just a super badass character in the comic. She's pretty good in the show too. I think it's tough to capture the comic because it's so over the top. But yeah, I mean, I love the portrayal in the show. Probably, I mean, she's amongst the best characters in the show easily. But, I mean, what is this going to see playing? Like, what are we thinking here? Like, Nick Fit? Like, so Nick Fit has a card that takes place in another universe? Like, it just doesn't actually make a difference. Now, the slippery slope, sure, if we end up with Powerpuff Girls and all sorts of nonsense, I guess. But again, like, they can cut this off way before that becomes an issue. And, people can let Wizards know. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with letting Wizards know that it's not your cup of tea. But, the sales are going to also be a factor. Like, that's going to send the signal. So, I mean, it seems to me like they're going to sell. It's going to bring in a ton of new people, because The Walking Dead is a absolute juggernaut. I mean, it's a, Game of Thrones went out very badly. Like, we'll see what happens with the remaining books, but they really crapped the bed when it came to the finale. I mean, I haven't even started rewatching the series. Like, there was a series, Dexter, that I really enjoyed. Like, caught it in the first season and like followed it through, and like it just got progressively worse. Like, it peaked in like the 4th season and then just got like progressively worse from there until it was like actually unwatchably bad. And we just like rewatched season 1 through 4 the other day and just ended there and just pretended it was over. That's kind of what people probably should do with Game of Thrones, is just like watch it up to a certain point. I don't know where the cutoff is, but it was not a satisfactory conclusion with how rushed it felt. And, Walking Dead has a chance to go out fairly well. They've already announced the last season, and it's got a huge amount of people. Now's the time. Like, you're not going to want to do a Game of Thrones thing now. Like, Walking Dead's hot right now. This is a good time to do it. It's going to bring a bunch of people in. And, most of my experience is tournament players. Like, right now, I've got a bunch of casual players coming in because I'm not doing tournaments in the store. It's just the webcam series, which is awesome. And like, we're getting great turnouts and it's a lot of fun. We can't do the type of stakes that we were able to do in the past right now, which is too bad. In the past, we were doing, the $40 buy-ins and we were getting 60 plus people. It was awesome. Like, that was really, really good. So, business-wise, I really, really want to get back to having full tournaments where we're running for like real prize pools. But that said, a lot of casual players are coming in, and a lot of people's stores are closing down, so like they're finding me because like their store is literally closed, and it's super casual. And like one guy saw the Godzilla card on the counter and he was like, "Oh, what's that? Like I love Godzilla." And he was there for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and he bought some Godzilla cards and then came back and he's like, "I got to learn how to play this game. This just looks awesome. I was just going to collect it, but like now I have some cards." And now he's like an actual really good Magic customer. He hasn't even asked to look at my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in like months, like literally since Ikoria came out. He came in, that was it. So how do you put a value on that? Like we're looking at it without the type of information and also without the same responsibility as Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. They're custodians of the game and they have to grow the player base, and there's only so much that you can do with Wizards and Dragons, and that's a lot though. Like you can do a lot, don't get me wrong, but occasionally doing something like this can capture people that you would just never see otherwise. Just no chance. The sneakers was the same thing. That was a great idea. Those J sneakers, fantastic idea. If that catches anybody at all to get into Magic the Gathering, totally worth it. And I think it does. I think it creates a bunch of hype. I think it gets people excited. And, you know, when you have that crossover, I mean, certainly for Walking Dead fans of Magic, this can be a really exciting thing for people. If they're not too much of a purist where they just can't stand the idea of these cards being part of their already preconceived notion of Magic, I think it's great. I think that those people can have something that's really awesome for them, you know, just the chocolate and peanut butter together type thing, which doesn't seem to be the consensus. I'm not going to lie. I made this video because people are really upset. But I don't think it's warranted. I really don't. I think it's a little bit of, not liking change, not really embracing the idea in Commander that your playgroup can actually set the rules. So like if you guys hate these cards in your playgroups, you can just ban them. Like that's actually what Commander's about. And from a tournament setting, you know, it doesn't really matter if you like your opponent's deck or not. Like you're there to win. That's my take on tournaments, is like if you're thinking about anything else other than winning in the tournament, you're not playing to win. And I don't know. Like if you could play a deck in a tournament that literally wins every time on the first turn, uncontested, you do that. That's my perspective on it. Like you're in a tournament. It is to find out who the best player and the best deck is in the room. So you do whatever it takes to win within the rules of the game. So, you know, if playing this card or playing against it is part of that equation, I just don't see how my feelings on that would be important. Like I just wouldn't even factor in my own feelings about that. Like I just don't give myself like an option to have an opinion about the aesthetics of my opponent's deck or not. It's literally irrelevant. You're trying to make the best plays and trying to win the game. Negan here, the cold-blooded, probably the best character in the Walking Dead period. In the comics, he's tremendous, and also portrayed very well in the show. Though, again, I think the nod kind of has to go to the comics just because of how over the top the comics can be. A little bit tougher to do it live action. It grounds it in a way that comic books, you know, can feel goofy when you try and replicate it perfectly. But Negan the Cold-Blooded here, Mardu Commander. When he enters the battlefield, target opponent each secretly choose a creature that player controls. Then those choices are revealed, and that player sacrifices those creatures. When an opponent sacrifices a creature, you create a treasure token. I don't really get the treasure side of this thing. I mean, it's an upside. So sure, but this is about the spoilers here for a comic that's like 10 years old and a show that's been around for quite a while as well. This is for the execution of Glenn, and then in the show, he also executes Abraham. Abraham has kind of a fluke death in the comics. He catches a stray bullet in a middle of a firefight, totally unexpected. Keeps it grounded though, like it felt like, oh wow, like anything can happen at any time. But in the show, they gave him a much more dramatic send-off as Negan executes both of those. So I actually love the flavor of this. It could just kill the one character that you definitely should kill, or it can swerve and kill too. So flavor-wise, like, these are really on point. And the art has, I mean, it feels to me like it's got a little bit of a hybrid. It looks kind of like a Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but perhaps a little bit more of the square jaw from the comic as well. So a little bit of a hybrid there. But, I mean, the execution of these cards is good. The financial value is there to partake in. If you think they're going to be worth a bunch, then, you know, you can invest. You can buy these. I will probably be picking up some of these. My initial plan with Secret Lairs was to get a bunch of them. I was thinking with the first wave, I was going to get 10 of them. And I only ended up getting 4 each, just to have the play sets. And once they came in, I actually pumped the brakes because they take up a ton of space. I had set aside a display case where I was like, oh, I'll put all the Secret Lairs in there. Like, they take up a lot of space. So I may start buying them again and just start cracking them, just to like throw out the packaging material and have the singles. I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure what the best way to proceed with these is. It's definitely best if you don't count in a storefront. Like, if you've got a closet in your house, keeping them sealed is almost certainly correct. But yeah, they just take up so much damn space when it's so few cards. So I don't know. I just wanted to get it out there that if you're playing to win and you're playing in tournaments, try not to have those type of hindrances, those type of hang-ups. They're not going to help you win. And that's really what it's about if you're playing to win. If you're playing casual, embrace the fact that it is casual Commander. And if you guys really hate the cards, go ahead and ban them. It's right there, like rule 0 or whatever in Commander. And, you know, if you're worried about this spiraling out of control, Wizards is at the wheel. I mean, Hasbro's at the wheel. Hasbro's at the wheel. And, you know, if this becomes too big of a problem, they can throttle it back. They can change it. But these are limited edition printings. So far, nowhere near legacy playable. So I just don't know how much of an impact it really makes outside of, you know, Commander. Like, you're probably not going to be sleeving up Negan. They even made him die to Bolt. I mean, I don't know. And if it is in Nick Fit, like, it's just not that big a deal if you play against it every once in a while in a suboptimal deck. Like, again, if it was a tournament and you're playing against a suboptimal deck, just be happy and take the win. So, I don't know. I just wanted to get some thoughts out there. A bunch of people have been messaging me, asking me, showing me the cards and be like, oh, have you seen these? And it's like, yes, of course. Here are my thoughts. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.